back to my channel. I hope you guys are all doing good. If you are new here, hello, my name is Shai. Welcome to the channel. I do a lot of beauty content, some vlogs, some fashions. If that seems like your vibe, make sure you subscribe. So today we are doing my, basically I would say my everyday glam makeup routine, my go-to glam that I do when I just want to look cute. I haven't done one of these in a very long time, so I feel like it's about time I update you guys on the products I'm using, the techniques I'm using, and also if you're new here, just see how I get a flawless face. So without further ado, let's just get into it. Okay, so I'm coming at you with no brows, nothing, just moisturizer, and that's it. So let's start with the brows. So I have been using this xxfine brow pencil for the longest time. I feel like maybe 2 to 3 years now. This is the xxfine brow pencil by xxrevolution, and I use the shade a deep brown. So I'm just gonna brush up my brows in place. I just like to define my brows and give them a little bit more of a shape. So I usually start from the front and just kind of create some definition, and I follow the natural shape of my brow all the way down. I don't like to create too much of a curve. I feel like I prefer my brows to be more straight, like straight across, than like curved. So I try to kind of keep them quite straight, even though they're not straight. so once I've kind of mapped out the bottom, I'm just gonna do like some hair-like strokes in the front, just here, just to kind of fill them in. And literally that's about all I do. Now I'm going to go ahead and define it. So I'm going to use this concealer. This is my L'Oreal Infallible concealer. Honestly, just use any kind of concealer that you want. This is in the shade 340 Chesnut. I'm just going to use this with a small definer brush and go underneath my brows and just clean it up and just get it to look really defined. I've got a focus here, so hopefully you guys just see what I'm basically doing. So the foundation I'm going to use today is actually my Charlotte Tilbury. This is the Beautiful Skin Foundation in 16 Core. So I'm just going to use this shade to go over top. I like to kind of keep it quite straight. So I don't like to use too much product. So just kind of blend upwards if it's too much. Those are my brows. Hopefully that was detailed enough. So let's get on to the foundation. So for primer, I've been loving my Fenty Hydrating Soft Silk Primer. This is like amazing. It feels so good on the skin. I just feel like it works so good and everything layers on this really well. So I'm just going to do 2 pumps or 3. I like a lot of hydration. And I'm just going to apply that. And it's super hydrating. Put a little up here as well. So now I want to go into foundation. We're going to use no other than the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Foundation. This is in the shade 16 Cool. It's my only and my first Charlotte Tilbury foundation. So absolutely love it. I'm just going to put 2 pumps on, well no, 1 and a bit. And I'm going to use this brush as a foundation brush. I love the way this applies my makeup. It's actually my favorite. I'm just going to use my finger and I'm going to tap this around. And it's like this foundation, the quality is just so rich. Like it feels so good. And it is quite hydrating. So I'm just going to apply it. And I probably might need to apply more, but let's see. So I'm just gonna blend this in. And I really like this brush because it doesn't pick up too much of the product. Like, it literally applies all the coverage that you need. Yeah. Here. And I feel like the key to applying like a really nice layer of foundation but not doing too much is just little by little. Like, don't put 2 pumps of foundation on your hand and just go in. Apply 1 pump, blend, apply another pump if you need more. Like, just do it little by little, because you don't want to end up feeling like you got too much makeup on or feel too cakey. Like, just take your time. So let's go on to eyes. And for eyes, I keep it very simple. I don't do too much. I'm good with a matte, simple nude eye look, and I'm going to use none other than my Makeup by Mario palette. Literally since I bought this palette, like, I think a year or 2 years ago now at this point, I've been non-stop. Like, I absolutely love this palette. There's other palettes that I have matte browns in that I could probably use, but this one is just my go-to. It's really small, it's compact, you can travel with it. I'm using a little bit of eye primer. This is the Be Perfect Prime, and even though I'm using like very like neutral natural shades which doesn't need a primer, I do feel like my eyeshadow just looks more seamless and perfect when I use a primer. So I'm just going to use a little, not much, because again we're doing very simple brown, so we don't need too much. Just gonna hit. And we're just going to blend that out on the eye, and I'm going to focus it on my eyelid and don't bring it up into like my crease, just on my eyelid, because that's where we have more of our, you know, little lines on our eyes. So just kind of blend it this way. Now that's blended, we're going to go with our eye look. So I don't really have a method to the madness. Some of the darker browns in my crease, and I use a really light shade, like a light matte shade on my lid. That's literally all I do. So I'm just going to kind of mix about a bit. So use this, that, you know, just kind of go back and forth. I'm not pro when it comes to eyeshadows, but when you're blending your crease, you want something that can actually blend, not something too stiff. Which is why I changed my brush. You want something that can freely kind of like blend out really nicely, especially around like your crease and like your eye, like this area, your outer V. You don't really want anything too defined if you want, especially like a more subtle look. So you want something that can just kind of blow the shadow on, deposit the color, but not like make it really harsh. I haven't done an eyeshadow video in really long, but that's just a little tip. If you want that like blown out kind of like eyeshadow look, just get a very blendy brush and get that in this area. And use that dark brown. Focus that there. And then I'm going to use my Morphe M153. Like an eyeshadow brush, and I'm just going to go in with some of the light browns. I think maybe this one here, this one, and maybe this one. Okay, so that's basically the eyes. Very simple. I just basically put a matte light brown on the lid and blended in the crease and the edges with like a warm brown and a dark brown. That's literally all. So this palette isn't necessary. You can use any palette you have, any other eyeshadows you have. I just particularly like that one. So now I'm going to apply my lashes and I'll be back. I like not dramatic lashes, but I like full voluminous lashes because I have very small eyes, and I feel like when I have very like light lashes on, I just feel like it just makes, I don't know, I prefer a little bit more volume. So I'm gonna throw it on my lashes. So for concealer, I feel like I'm using the same combo that I've been using. I'll be very surprised if in my last video I didn't use these, but I use my xxrevolution concealer. I alternate between 13 and 13.5, and then I use my e.l.f. concealer in tan neutral just to brighten it up a little bit. So we're gonna go in with the 13.5 and create some brightness and some balance to the face, because I feel like with just foundation the face looks very flat, like it just doesn't have nothing to it. So I want to go in with this concealer under the eyes here, and then angle it upwards to give my eyes a bit of a lift, because we didn't do any bold eyeshadow, and if there was any eyeshadow before, like, it kind of cleans it up and just lifts the eyes even more. And especially because I am wearing quite voluminous lashes and I have small eyes, I want to make sure it doesn't look too like, oh, I've got makeup on it. You don't want to make it to look too like droopy. And this doe foot is literally my favorite. It kind of like slants, so it's like perfect to carve out makeup. We're going to go in the middle here, like that. I leave it for about 10 seconds ish, and then I'm going to start blending. So I'm just going to start tapping this product in. Okay, so that is how that concealer looks. Really good. Now I'm going to go ahead and cream bronze before we go into our second concealer that kind of brightens us up. So shocker, I've now become a cream bronzer stan. I actually love it now. So I really do love this ABH cream bronzer in chestnut. It's actually my favorite go-to. The shade is perfect, the blendability is perfect, just gorgeous. But I also recently got the SHAIBEAUTY bronzers in deep bronze and dark bronze, which I really like as well. So today I'm just going to do a combo. I'm going to use chestnut and dark bronze just for a little bit more of a snatch, because I feel like dark bronze is more of a contour. This is how chestnut looks, and then this is how the SHAIBEAUTY bronzer in dark bronze looks. More of like a contour vibe. So I'm going to start off with this one and then just use the dark bronze for a little bit of emphasis. So I want to go in with, I'm just going to use a little foundation brush, and do you see the shade? Do you see the shade? The shade is just so perfect. I love it. So before I go and blend that out, I'm actually going to go for my nose contour. So I'm just going to blend down my nose contour. Actually going to go in with a concealer for my nose because I feel like it's easier to control. I feel like with cream products, they disperse quite quickly when you're blending them. You don't have much control. You control the situation where it is, but it kind of blends out. So I like to go in for like a liquid concealer. This is the C18 xxrevolution concealer. Just use a little bit on the sides. And I have to say, I feel like people really sleep on xxrevolution. And I'm like, you're missing out. Especially if you like a hydrating concealer and something that's like not so matte. It's very nice. So I'm just gonna do my little contour. So I like to kind of like map it out. I'm looking here because my mirror is on this side, guys, sorry. And then kind of like just do tapping motions. I feel like when it comes to like my nose contour or any kind of contour, you've got to map out where you want it to land and then blend. Under painting kind of look. So you guys can see I got a really good shape there with my nose contour, like it looks, it's giving the illusion. So once you've got that, that's when you start to blend down. When it's like, okay, we've got a shape. Let's get the edges looking soft and not harsh. The edges are blended nicely. I feel like I'm a bit rusty with these tutorials, but hopefully you guys get what I'm doing and you can see what I'm doing. But tapping motions is my favorite thing to do. because you still get the illusion, but everything blends well. So that's where we have the contour. Blended it down really nicely, but it looks good in real life and not just on camera, because what's the point of doing makeup really good for camera when people see you in real life? I just don't ever get that. So before we blend out this cream bronzer, we're going to go in for like concealer. And the reason why I can leave this cream contour on so long is because it's a cream, which is what I like. If it was a concealer, I'd have to move quite quicker, but because it's a cream, I can leave it to sit there for a second. So this is the shade Tan Neutral, and it's super light. And we're going to place that right in like the innermost part of my eye, and we're going to focus it there. Not too much want to bring it out, because we just want to focus highlighting this like little area. Like if I could draw a triangle, it'd be like this. I want to focus the brightness in this area, but I don't want to bring it out too far, because no, if we have to we will, and we'll just, you know, blend it in later, but I want to focus it in the middle. I'm going to use my same sponge, and we're just going to tap down. So now it's time to blend out our cream bronzer. I'm going to use the bottom of my sponge. Once I get my bronzer on, it's like, yeah, we have arrived. Honestly, it's like the best part. Look how glowy that looks. Love that, love that. Get up here. Up here also. Always go in and make sure there's no harsh lines. And then I'm actually going to go in with the deep bronze, even though I don't feel like I need it today. Right here, just to deepen it and give me that like contour vibe, and snatch up my cheeks. And now we can set the face. But you see how that say gave me a bit more glow as well? It's really nice if you like more of a glowy vibe, you know, that clean makeup kind of glow. But let's set the under eyes. So now I've just used one brand and it's crazy, but Huda has me in a chokehold. I have plenty like amazing powders in my collection, but Huda got me on lock. So I set first with the Huda Beauty powder in Kunafa, and then I bake a little bit with banana bread. These two, chef's kiss type of combo, like it just works so well. This is the Kunafa shade. I'm just going to use my powder brush. I've been using this for all my life, basically. This is my e.l.f. powder brush. I'm going to go into Kunafa and I'm going to set her down. And I always use the tiniest amount of powder. I mean, the less, the better to me, because I feel like not even I feel like I don't like a powdery look. So just go in. So for powder bronzer, these are the two that I've been really going towards these days. This is the Fenty Beauty Thick Mint Bronzer. Absolutely love this. Let me open it so you guys can at least see it. If I can get it open. And that's how she looks. Very warm but has depth. Love that for me. And then we have Charlotte Tilbury bronzer in Dark 4, which is the deepest shade she has. And this is what she looks like. And these are what they look like together. So similar undertones, but you can tell this one is obviously deeper. If I'm going to be honest, this one is my favorite bronzer that I have in my collection, and I would recommend picking this up. This one I really do like, and I've been using it more because I bought it. I need to make, you know, use of what I bought. But if I was going to choose, I would definitely say I'd go for Fenty. But I have been using my Charlotte Tilbury more, especially using the Say bronzer and my Chestnut bronzer together. I think this really gives a nice warmth. But if your bronzer doesn't have that much of a depth, like your cream bronzer or your contour that you used before this step doesn't have much of a depth, this isn't going to add depth. This is more going to add just warmth. And I like the balance of both, which is why this one's my favorite, because you get depth and you get warmth in one. But here we're just going to get warmth. But that's okay for today. I'm going to start setting and kind of blending any harsh lines. Now we're going to set with the banana bread powder, and it's significantly lighter and it's going to give that bright effect how she looks. And we are going to use a powder puff. I have been obsessed with this. I like to just kind of dip in, take off some of the excess and just pat directly under my eyes. And this little pointed area at the top, like, it's perfect for going right underneath the eyes. She works so well. Just gonna pack in product and literally blurs. Like, when I say blurs, like, if I thought my makeup was flawless before, this made it like 10 times more flawless. It's definitely helped with my creasing, because I've noticed that, like, I don't know, recently my makeup's been creasing under the eyes, and this really helps. I'm gonna use the same brushes for bronzer and just make sure they don't look too, you know, ghostly. I mean, we're gonna set our face, but in general. And now we're gonna go in with blush, my favorite part. I absolutely love blush, and this blush has been my favorite. Been using it non-stop. This is my Pat McGrath blush in Electric Bloom. Get compliments on this all the time. Look how gorgeous she is. So this is what I'm going to use. I'll just use an angled blush brush. I'm going to go into the purple first and kind of do like a gradual blush. I feel like the purple is a little bit more chilled, and then the red is like really punchy. So I'll make sure I'm taking my time, because this can get real quick. This is in 450, my foundation brush, and I'm going to go over my mouth because I find that I lose the most makeup here, so I've got to set. Okay, so this is basically my face done before, you know, our final touches. So to set this down, I use two products. I use my Vitamin E Hydrating Mist by Superdrug. This is just to kind of like refresh the face, bring a little bit more life to it. It's looking very powdery right now. And then I finish off with my Charlotte Tilbury setting spray to set everything in and give us that final glow. So we're going to start off with this. Now I'm going to go in with Charlotte. Okay, so I did put brow lift on my brows. I think you guys can really see the difference of that. Always kind of finish off with brow lift just to keep my brows in place, because I find that throughout the day, I guess my brows kind of, they don't rub off, but they're not as intense. So I'd rather them be a little bit more slicked back. Even though I don't know if I love the laminated look, I think it works. So I always clean my lips. Sorry, I always clean my lips with a makeup wipe, get off any excess makeup, because hold on, fun fact, I have very pink lips, as you guys can see, and if I keep makeup on my lips and I put lip gloss on, even if it's like a clear gloss, it just doesn't bode well for me. I'm gonna line my lips with my Richie liner that I always use, always, because I do not play. When it comes to line my lips, I love like the 90s vibe, like very dark line. Favorite lip gloss ever right now is my Fenty Heat lip gloss. I just recently picked up another one, so I'm super happy to be using this again. Before I was on rations and now we good. So I'm just gonna apply this in like the center portion of my lips. I also do like alternating this with like a clear gloss. I think clear glosses are just classic, but I do really like this one. I think I might actually try, do they have Gloss Bomb Heat in clear? Because that might be a shout. I think they have it in regular, but they don't have it in clear, because I would love to try that. Sometimes I go in for a little bit of mascara up my bottom lash line, and I use, well, recently been using my same mascara just to give me a little bit more definition on the eyes. So let's go ahead and do that. Just literally slightly just wave the wand just to catch your lower lash line. So just very slightly. Oh, I hate doing stuff with my eyes because my eyes are quick to water. And yeah, that is pretty much my makeup done. I'm pretty much perfect. So at this point, I just kind of go over any like harsh lines, edges on my face. Make sure everything's kind of blended. Do what I want them to do. I guess this is my finished look. This is my 2023 go-to everyday glam makeup. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Of course, I'll put all the products in the description box. Let me know if you guys have any questions, if you guys want to know my opinions on any of the products I use. Of course, I will share my thoughts in the comments. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to give me a nice thumbs up, subscribe as always, and I will see you guys in the next one.